Right, the scene is set. The rematch is here. And tomorrow night in the kingdom of Saudi Arabia, Oleksandr Usyk and Tyson Fury will do battle once again for heavyweight supremacy. And we've spoken on this channel already about the keys to victory, the adjustments that may need to be made, and how each man may go about approaching this rematch. But now it is finally time for me to give my prediction on how this fight plays out. And you know what? The first time out, when myself and Brian sat down and we previewed this fight, we actually got a lot right. You can go back and look at that video. We said that Usyk would start fast in the fight. I predicted that Tyson Fury would start to take over the fight from round 4 onwards. We predicted that both men would probably be hurt during the fight, and although I predicted a Tyson Fury win, Brian did say that he felt that Usyk would win via decision. And I'm aware that this one could age like milk, but that is not going to stop me telling you lot what I believe is going to happen tomorrow night. I think that Tyson Fury could have been at 100% for their first fight, and Oleksandr Usyk still could have beaten Tyson Fury. That is just how highly I rate Oleksandr Usyk, and since coming up to the heavyweight division, he has literally ticked every single box now, hasn't he? Can he take the power from heavyweights? Yes. Can he take the power from elite heavyweights? Yes. Can he push bigger men back? Yes. And can he navigate giving away all the physical advantages, including size, reach, weight, and still maneuver away to victory over top heavyweights? Yes. And therefore, there is no doubt that this man is a great generational fighter, maybe the pound for pound #1, and will go down in history. And if he wins this fight, what with the win he already has over Daniel Dubois, who is the IBF heavyweight world champion, there really is nothing left for Oleksandr Usyk to achieve in boxing that he hasn't already. And there's a narrative that's only just really starting to be challenged that only Tyson Fury is the man that has the ability to be better in this rematch. And I actually don't think that's true. I think that Oleksandr Usyk also has the ability to be better in this rematch, because Usyk had been in the ring with some great big men before, but I am of the belief that Usyk had never been in the ring with anyone anywhere near as crafty and with the ring IQ as Tyson Fury. And that unknowingness could have made him a little bit more cautious early on. It could have made him less eager to commit early on. And now that he knows that he is able to take the shots of Tyson Fury, to ride a storm against Tyson Fury, and to come through what I would say were crisis moments against Tyson Fury, maybe that will make Oleksandr Usyk more confident that he can take even more risks early on. And despite the fact that he put the pressure on early last time out, I wouldn't say he took the amount of risks last time out that maybe, just maybe, he may feel that he can do this time out. And also, maybe he's downloaded enough information and then gone back and studied the fight after actually being in it to be able to see, right, here are certain flaws and certain areas that I could have penetrated first time out that I didn't, and therefore going into the rematch maybe he will have those tricks up his sleeve. So Oleksandr Usyk can definitely be better going into this rematch than he was in the first fight, but I personally subscribe to the theory that Tyson Fury can be even better too. I believe that percentage-wise, there's a higher gap that can be bridged by Tyson Fury in this rematch than there can be by Oleksandr Usyk. I believe that Tyson Fury can approach this fight mentally better, and I believe that Tyson Fury can approach this fight and will have approached this fight physically better. Because I do believe that Tyson Fury went into that first fight somewhat overconfident. I stood feet, if not inches away from both men yesterday at the Ring Magazine Gala, And although I was taken back by the size of Oleksandr Usyk, I was blown away by the size of Tyson Fury. And those physical attributes that Tyson Fury has over Oleksandr Usyk were always going to and will always go in his favor if he is able to use them properly. And I believe that in the first fight, maybe he didn't use them properly. Again, maybe if he had used them properly, he still would have lost. But I'm just saying, I believe that his physical attributes can make a difference in Tyson Fury being better in this fight. And people are going to jump on me for speaking about the cut, but I've kind of got to a point where covering Tyson Fury fights, I've got to honestly just accept that I'm going to get hate in the comments and really not give a fuck about what people think, because YouTube is full of people who don't like Tyson Fury at this moment in time. And if you speak about something that could have potentially hampered Tyson Fury going into that first fight, then you're branded a Tyson Fury excuse maker, a Tyson Fury apologist, an arse licker, whatever you want to call it. You are branded bias towards Tyson Fury, and ultimately that's the stick that I'm probably going to be beaten with in the comment section. But I do believe that there is a legitimate discussion as to whether or not Tyson Fury was at his best in that first fight, and I don't believe he was. I believe that the cut really was a huge factor in that camp. And just for the record, by the way, I believe that the cut helped Tyson Fury in some ways. I believe that it helped him adjust to the weight that obviously he had come down to after the Ngannou fight. I also believe that it gave him more time to mentally prepare, to focus, to study Oleksandr Usyk, and to get fitter for that fight against Oleksandr Usyk, which he clearly was when you look at the punch stats. But that is where the cut helping Tyson Fury finishes for me, because I think that it hugely hindered not only the amount of sparring that Tyson Fury was able to get for that rescheduled date, but the level of sparring that he was able to get. I went into a fight of an injury, and pulling out just wasn't an option for me in that fight. And once that injury happened, although it wasn't a cut, it was an injury that, without going into detail, could pretty much be only set off by something going wrong in sparring. Your general pad work, bag work, and just general training wouldn't have really set that injury off. But if something happened in sparring and something was caught in the wrong place, that injury could have been set off. And because pulling out wasn't an option for me, the frequency of my sparring was massively affected. The level of opposition that I was sparring was massively effective, and I do believe that that hurt me during the fight, or at least hurt my ability to perform, I should say. And when you have a man in front of you like Oleksandr Usyk, you need high level sparring with fighters who are ready to push the pace on you at all times. And when you're going into those spars, you need to be fully dialed in on the job at hand, rather than trying to navigate your way through the rounds and thinking about not opening up a cut or aggravating an injury. And even Andy Lee spoke about the fact that Tyson Fury hardly sparred during the build-up to that rescheduled date. And I do believe Andy Lee. And this time round, we know that Fury has had good preparation. He has cut himself off. He has not done any sort of media obligations that aren't contracted, and he has had young, hungry southpaws in the camp, Moses Atoma being one of them. And I believe that that is perfect sparring to replicate Oleksandr Usyk and the aggressive version of Oleksandr Usyk that we saw in the first fight. Many people spoke about the fact that Jai Opetaia was sent home from the first camp. I can honestly say that I believe that Moses Atoma is even better sparring than Jai Opetaia when trying to replicate Oleksandr Usyk. Now, one thing that borders on both the physical and the mental side that I think Tyson Fury will have now gained is the understanding that this fight is never done until it's done. And Oleksandr Usyk is never finished until the fight is finished. The greatest fights will often ebb and flow, and the tide can turn backwards and forwards. And I think that Tyson Fury was definitely surprised when Oleksandr Usyk was able to push him onto the back foot early on. I think that when he piled on that pressure in the opening couple of rounds, Tyson Fury was unaware or suspect as to how long that pressure could last. And therefore, when Tyson Fury really started to find his rhythm and had in what my opinion were a couple of dominant rounds in round 4, 5, and 6, I think that Tyson Fury all of a sudden felt like the pace of the fight had dropped, and I don't think he expected it to intensify again. I do not think he realised the storm was brewing and that Oleksandr Usyk was going to have that amount of success once again in that fight. I'm not saying he took his eye off the ball, and I'm not making excuses for him, but what I do believe is that Tyson Fury thought that he was going to be able to continue fighting in that style. He was going to be able to hurt Oleksandr Usyk again, and therefore he was then in control of the fight. Now he knows that that is just not the case. Now he knows that when he goes back to his corner after his most successful round, the storm is coming. He needs to come out and box even better in the next round than he did in the last, because that is when Oleksandr Usyk can come back into the fight like we saw him in those later rounds. And by the way, once again, me saying that Fury now knows this doesn't necessarily swing the fight in his favour, but I do feel that it helps him both mentally and physically in his preparation. Because in camp, for example, when he has just had his best round in sparring, it would have potentially been a great time for Sugar Hill to then change the sparring partner, bring in a fresh one and bring in one and tell them that you need to go and go for him in this round. And that is a perfect way to replicate what Oleksandr Usyk was able to do in that fight. And I also think that emotions play a huge part in all fights, but none more so than in Tyson Fury fights. Oleksandr Usyk pretty much went through all of his cruiserweight career being a favourite in his fights. I would say for the most part of his heavyweight career, he has been an underdog in a lot of his fights, but he definitely goes into this one as a favourite for me. And either way, you just get the same old Usyk, don't you? You get a consummate professional who turns up and shows up, time in, time out, no excuses made. Whereas Tyson Fury has shown himself to be a man that has a spirit, and that spirit rises more so to the occasion when people don't believe that he can win. And let's be honest here, despite what you might hear from people in the media and videos that you've seen put out, I am here on the ground in Saudi Arabia, and off camera, a lot of people that you speak to, and I'm not going to start name dropping people, but people that everyone watching this knows, off camera, everyone's picking Usyk pretty much. He's a big favourite going into this fight, and I think that mentally that benefits Tyson Fury. I honestly believe that Tyson Fury hates being the favourite in fights. It's just my gut instinct, but my gut instinct tells me that. Look at the bust-up that Tyson Fury and Brian had all those years ago when Brian was interviewing him about the Del Boy rematch. And obviously, a huge chunk of why Tyson Fury became heated and got so annoyed with Brian during that interview was obviously the fact that he didn't like the line of questioning. He wasn't used to the line of questioning. The line of questioning that Brian was giving him was the sort of line of questioning that the media would not give him, because they would fear having access and fear not being able to ever get another interview with Tyson Fury. But one of the things that I believe that Tyson Fury did not like was the fact that Brian was stating that he was a huge favourite against Derek Chisora, and off the back of especially their second fight, Derek Chisora didn't really have a chance in that fight. And I believe that Tyson Fury feels like he needs to have something inside himself that tells him there's danger in this fight. You're not a favourite in this fight. This guy can pull something off against you. And I think that deep down he knew that Chisora wasn't a real threat to him, and that was one of the things that got him really, really riled up and annoyed during that interview. Whereas now, that's not the case at all. Every single person thinks Oleksandr Usyk's gonna win that I've spoken to. And I know that will be feeding through to Tyson Fury. And I honestly feel that it benefits him. I think that it takes pressure off of his shoulders going into a fight for the first time in so many years being a genuine underdog. And there'll be so many of you that are probably already commented or are about to comment once you finish watching this video and tell me that everything I've just said doesn't matter because Usyk is just better. And do you know what? Maybe you're right, but it doesn't mean that I'm not entitled to my opinion. And I'm a believer. I believe that Tyson Fury will upset the odds. I believe that Tyson Fury will rise again. And I believe that Tyson Fury is going to win this rematch with Oleksandr Usyk. And contrary to what most people think, I believe that the way he does it is different. I don't believe that Tyson Fury needs to go in there for a 3-round shootout with Oleksandr Usyk anymore. I now think that Tyson Fury will win this fight on points. Despite some people, and I think all 3 judges, giving Tyson Fury round 2 in the first fight, I didn't give Tyson Fury a round on my scorecards until round 4. And at the end of it, I had it 5 rounds to Fury and 7 rounds to Oleksandr Usyk, meaning I felt that Oleksandr Usyk won by 3 points if you include the 2-point round. However, I can see a world where you score it 8-4 to Oleksandr Usyk. I have no problem with that. I believe that those early rounds will be a lot closer, and I believe that Tyson Fury will do more in those early rounds. And I think that this will be another close fight where both men will have to ride storms at moments. But I do believe it is one that Tyson Fury is going to win on points. And you lot might tell me that this is coming from my heart because I'm a Tyson Fury supporter rather than from my head. But I'll tell you, it doesn't come from either place. It comes from my gut. And I'm a man that's always trusted my gut. The proof is out there for you lot to see, by the way, because I said on the live stream in the build-up to Daniel Dubois against Anthony Joshua, as they were ring walking, I said my gut instinct right now is telling me that Dubois is going to win this. I can feel it. I can feel the upset in the air. I said live on the Pain Games stream before Fury fought Ngannou, when everyone thought that Ngannou probably didn't have a chance against the seasoned veteran boxer in Tyson Fury in comparison to the MMA champion making his debut, I said my gut instinct is that Tyson Fury has a bad night at the office tonight. I had a gut instinct when everyone thought that Ryan Garcia was going absolutely crazy and had no chance against Devin Haney, that Ryan Garcia was going to win that fight. And being out here in Saudi, feet on the ground, smelling something in the air, call me crazy, seeing both fighters yesterday as well, I've got a gut instinct that Tyson Fury wins this fight. Shoot me down in the comment section. I know you guys will. And I know full well that if Oleksandr Usyk beats Tyson Fury, you will be back in the comment section once again to give me even more stick. But it's not going to stop me being real to myself and telling you guys how I feel. And my feeling is that Tyson Fury gets a points decision in a close fight, maybe by a couple of rounds, maybe 2 to 3 points on the judges' scorecards. But rather than coming back to my comment section, watch it live on the Pain Game. If you buy the pay-per-view, you are able to select me, Brian, Loza, Trav and KG as your live commentary, which is absolutely mental. Or tune in to our stream on YouTube while you watch the fight. Either way, make sure you do watch the fight. I'm going to link the Pain Game in the description to this video. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and I will see you all in the fight review.